Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another session here in Reader's Magnet's featured author interview. My name is Leah, and I will be your host for today. And with me is one of the Reader's Magnet's featured author. And today, she will be sharing to us what this book is all about, her as an author, and of course, what inspired her to write this book. So, yes, everyone, let's all welcome our one and only Miss Tonia Pinheiro, author of the book Ego and Essence, a user guide for the soul. Hello, Tonia.
Hi,
Hi, how are you
Leon. Hi,
doing?
everyone. Nice
Right.
to see
It's
you.
good to see you. It's good to see you. Yeah, so Tonia, this is the moment that we've been waiting for because, again, it's now time to know more information about your book and your inspiration behind it. And yes, before we tackle more information about that, we wanted to know who Miss Tonia Pinheiro is. So, yes, a little bit of self introduction, please.
Yes. Well, my introduction of myself is also part of the inspiration for writing the book
Wow.
because I grew up at a time when families were kind of dysfunctional. And
Mm-hmm.
I was in one of those dysfunctional families. And I had two parents, one who was very verbally and physically abusive, and I had another parent who was very supportive and was training me how to be in the world. So as I grew up, I discovered that I had all of these, probably well into my 20s. I had what I called an emotional breakdown. And it was because I had built up so many defense mechanisms in my system that I did not know who I was. I just didn't know. And so I started working with my mother in my 20s, in my early 20s, with my dreams. And the dream, working with her with my dreams, she had a Jungian psychology background. I was able to understand what was going on inside of me based on the symbology and the meaning of the dreams. And this is what got me started on my spiritual path. Over time, as I began, and it was very painful to do, a process to do, because my ego, people's egos, really do develop in childhood if they don't have a lot of nurturing and support to be who they are. And so the ego comes in to defend itself, to defend you, to stop the pain from coming from the outside. And so in that process, I had built up a goody two shoes personality. I will go along to get along so that you like me and so that I don't have to be rejected or feel pain because of something that you said to me that hurt my feelings. Fast forward, was in a group called Goddess Gospel. It was an all woman a cappella singing group. And the leader of that group, whose name was Louise Cloutier, wrote a song. She wrote many songs, but this particular song had lyrics that struck my heart. And one of the phrases in the song was, in the journey out of dreaming, in the singing out of in. And the singing out of in hit me. And I realized that when you sing out of you, or speak out of you, or say out of you, or express out of you what's inside of you, the rest of the song comes into play. And you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. In the journey out of dreaming, in the singing out of infinite discovery, lightning lit remembering, sacred tools assembling, you're tunneling deep within. And so that's what this book does. It helps you to really understand what is all of this stuff that's going on inside of me that no one is explaining to me how it works?
Mm.
And when going through like 10, 20, 30, 40 years of doing this internal work for myself, I realized that I've got to share this with other people. Because if we knew how our emotions are really supposed to work, like they do it automatically, but we don't have to be affected by them the way that we're taught to be affected by them. We don't have to be, I guess I'm talking about what inspired me about my book right now, because
Mm-hmm.
um, when your mind is running, and you try, oh, I'm going to try to meditate, but you can't meditate because your mind's running. Okay. The fact of the matter is, and this is what I've learned, and this is what I'm sharing in the book. The fact of the matter is, this physical body is a vehicle for the soul. It's not just you. This is physical, is
Right.
not your true identity. But the ego self and the mind self takes on the human identity until your soul is able to come online and be an active participant
Right.
in your life. Yeah. So this book is a map. It's like a lighthouse. It is, it has chapters. It's got inspirational things in it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
primarily, I want you to understand what is the world really, because you're in it now physically. What is your soul and your soul essence? What is it really? And it's now in this physical body, and it has to learn how to drive it like a car. You buy a car, and until somebody teaches you or you figure out how to run the car, it's not going to go anywhere. But even though you may know how
Right.
to drive the car, you don't know all the internal mechanics and what makes it be that way, what allows it to go. You know you need gas, you know you need oil, but that's about all most people know. This book is explaining the mechanics of the invisible systems. You don't see feelings in the
Right.
physical world. You see people express them. It's an
Mm-hmm.
energy, right? When your thoughts are running around in your head, you don't really see them. They're just happening. I mean, some people have that ability to, with inner sight, so they can see pictures in their mind. But when you hear
Mm-hmm.
that little like, oh, I should have done that better, or oh, I just had that fuss with that person and I should have said this, but I didn't say that. All those little thoughts running in there, you can't see them. They're just happening. This book explains what that is, and then what you can do to tame it, to instruct it, to stop it, both the mental stuff and the emotional stuff, and to bring into your awareness to begin to trust your intuition, because that's how the soul speaks and the essence speaks to the body.
Wow. And hmm that's really amazing, Tanya. And you know what, Tonya? This is actually great because, your book is not just about, talking your own experience, but at the same time, this book of yours is really advocating for a specific cause and agenda. Especially, there's a lot of people out there who's really struggling to really know what's the purpose and passion in their life, And I must say that, let's say, values are your non negotiable foundation when it comes to passion and purpose. It is really something that, talks about what excites and motivates you. The purpose of these concepts are deeply interconnected, and it should be aligned when, let's say, when we give something like a chance at having a fulfilling life and career. And this is something also, one thing that I really like about your book also, Tonia, is it is also, talking about really what is God's purpose for humans, purpose for our lives. We believe God's purpose for mankind is to really prepare those whom he calls, to really possess God's kingdom and become kings, you know, Jesus. And this is really something amazing because it really reveals what is really the God given purpose and to help you fulfill every step of the way.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just so amazing, Tonya.
And,
Man, and you know
and
what, Tonya? I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, and one of the premises of the book is God is not out there. God's not out there somewhere and you can't get to God until you do all
Mhm.
these things that humans have told you you have to do to find God in your life. Okay. God's always inside,
Mhm.
always. There's a spark of God in us, but that spark is live. But the
Right.
human experience shuts our awareness of it off until we have enough pain and suffering in our life to say, I can't take this anymore. I got to figure something else out.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Right.
book is about showing people it's important to strip away all of the things in your life. When I say strip away, I mean stop allowing them to be your reason for being.
Mm-hmm.
They can still exist. You still have to go to work, go to school, raise your kids. You have to still live life. But if you're living your life from the essence of you and not from what people told you you need to do, or to be a good this, or to be a successful that, you have to do these things, that's performative. And this
Mm-hmm.
book is about getting you to be internally aligned with your, let me say it differently. It's showing you how your human self can become aligned with your divine self that exists
Right.
in you,
Mm-hmm.
so that you're comfortable knowing that. Like when we had these elections, for example, they just happened.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself being solidly still with the result because it wasn't what I wanted. But I wasn't like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I didn't do that at all. And it's because I've practiced this stuff for so long
Mm-hmm.
that it was just like
Right.
there.
Mm-hmm.
This is the information, and you can stay in your solid place of peace, like the be still and know that I am God place. And people can live with that in everything they do.
Right.
It doesn't have to just be once a day or once a week or anything like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
a real thing. And what I want to put this out there because I don't even remember if I wrote it in the book. But the important thing is, as you begin to uncover all the false stuff
Mm-hmm.
and you begin to step into like, this is what my soul is really wanting to do. This is my
Right.
passion. Like one of my passions was improvisational theater. Okay.
I
Once I
see that.
started,
I see that.
yeah, once I started doing that, like going to the classes and learning, I started noticing things coming into my life to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I said, oh, this is that ego force. I just call it the ego force. That because I'm not listening to it on the inside of me, it's now trying to stop me out there in the world. But I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm just going to keep going. But the key thing really is you can read the book and you'll get information.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't practice it, if you don't catch yourself making assumptions about somebody or something, if you
Mm-hmm.
don't catch yourself making judgments about yourself and what you're capable of, if you don't realize that all the secrets you're holding about yourself or things that happened in your family or things that happened in your world, and you just keep it inside because there's nobody to tell,
Mm-hmm.
that is not being in integrity internally. We have an outside picture of what integrity looks like, but this is all about the inside of the person.
Right. Wow. And you know what, Tanya? What's amazing about your book, because you mentioned earlier that, I mean, not all people can do this, especially when it comes to opening up to someone, struggling to really also, let's say, asking questions of themselves. Why can I find what to do with my life? Sometimes it really takes time and, let's say, life experience to really uncover what feels meaningful to you.
Right.
Someone is struggling with finding their purpose, considering seeking support from the friends and family or professionals who can really provide guidance as well. So this book of yours, Tonia, is really such a wonderful creation to really help someone out there who's struggling to open up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
There's Yes, and I mean, this is something that everybody should hear. You can definitely open up to someone as long as you talk to the right people, then you would really know where you're heading to.
Yeah. And if you have a little inkling about something that you might like to do, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't think you can, go try it anyway. Like, let's say, for example, like I've always been a musical person, but in my early life, I found out that when I took piano lessons, my father put a lock on the piano because he didn't want to hear that noise, right? But
Mm-hmm.
throughout my life, I realized that nobody can take my voice away. But there are people
Right.
who are artists. There are people who are engineers in their minds. They're inventors, creators. I mean, this, but what you have to do as an individual is play with it and don't let your ego plant the thought, this is it. This is it for the rest of your life. No, it's not for the rest of your life. It's for this moment. And when
Moment.
I say this moment in time,
I
it
like
may
that.
last for 10 days or 10 weeks or 10 years,
Hmm.
but it's really important to keep bringing yourself out of that past future orientation and into in this moment, what is it I feel like I want to do? And give yourself a moment to figure it out.
Right.
And then just
Yes.
do it. You can't
Hmm.
sing. You can't, play basketball. You can't, whatever it is. Well, maybe I can. Why am I listening to you? How do you know me any better than I know me? Try.
Hmm. Exactly. This is somehow, it's like about acknowledging your personal values. What
Correct.
gives you purpose. What would you do if there were no limits? Wow, that's amazing. And you know what, Tonia? I have actually seen your book online, and wow, congratulations for your 5-star reviews. And you've been getting a lot of positive feedback coming from your readers. You
Yes.
know, knowing. I mean, I can really tell that this book of yours is really such a successful creation. Now, how does it feel, getting feedback? You've already helped a lot of people with your book. So, how does it feel?
It feels like I say thank you, God, for them making a choice to know
Right.
who they are. It's like maybe I was the catalyst, and that's what I came here to do. I'm your catalyst. I'm not like I don't want people to like, oh, you're my teacher and you're my this and like
Mhm.
no.
Just an instrument,
Here's
right?
how it worked for me. If it
Mm-hmm.
works for you, awesome. If it doesn't work for you, so be it. I will
Mm-hmm.
say though that I know people that are so deeply in ego entrenched
Mm-hmm.
that they cannot read the book. They won't read the book because their egos are going to look at that title and say, "Ego? I don't know. I don't know what she's going to say
Right.
about me, but I don't want them to know. So we're not going
Mm-hmm.
to read the book." Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know that also because of the title of the book. But
Right.
the real point of the book is the essence, like your soul essence.
Exactly.
Set it
Mm-hmm.
free.
Right.
Be that.
Yes.
That is what you are. You are the soul essence. You're not the body and the ego and all that stuff. So, yeah. But it does me, it thrills me. I mean,
Right.
one of my biggest hopes someday is that parents will read this book and so they understand what their kids are going through.
Mm-hmm.
When their kids are being like all like out of control emotionally and stuff, it's because the
Mm-hmm.
child came in with a particular purpose and way of being that has no outlet.
Right.
that the child can recognize as this is who I am. And so if the parents can understand that, they can adjust themselves, because some
Mm-hmm.
parents do and some parents don't. But parents have to kind of unhook their "you're my child and you have to do what I say" mentality to see, who is this little being? Who is this soul that is in my care? And how can I nourish that soul and help that soul find its purpose? And the purpose changes as you grow. So don't feel like, well, once I pick this, that's it. It's not true. I've changed so many times in my life, it ain't funny.
And it's the only constant thing in this world.
You got
Change.
that right.
Right, right. And you know what, Tanya? I must say that, yeah, everybody should have this, you know, especially someone who's also going through, a difficult time, with the compassion, that wisdom in your book could really help a lot of people out there, especially family, and
Mhm.
also sharing it to their kids. This is
Yeah,
really such a good topic, that
yeah,
needs to be discussed. Wow. And that's
yeah.
amazing, right?
And I hope
Now,
people will at least go on Amazon and read the peek, the peek inside thing, because it
mm-hmm,
gets through the table of contents, which is really helpful to read. And then in the introduction, there's a bullet list of all the benefits that
mm-hmm.
people can experience if they let their essence live through this life and get their ego in a place of cooperation rather
Mm-hmm.
than resistance.
I like that. The alignment. Wow, that
Yeah,
would really give them the chance to have a fulfilling life and
yeah,
career,
yeah.
especially with, in God's arms. Wow, that's
Absolutely,
amazing.
absolutely. And my ego has now figured it out that nothing bad happens when I let when I let
Let's
that
claim it.
be in charge. It's usually something good. So
Right, right. Now, Tonia, before we end this, interview, is there any message that you would like to give to our viewers or your potential book buyers? Mm-hmm.
people say know yourself, and this book will help you to know your true self. It will help you understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And the world out there was designed to keep you from this information. It's designed to distract you 100% from this information. Because once you're in that, like I like to say Yeshua, because that was his legitimate name. Yeshua was our role model. And this book is breaking down all the little components of how to become aligned with and expressing our God self.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Tonya. And again, everyone, for our viewers out there, please do grab a copy of this book, of Miss Tonia Pinheiro's book. If you are looking for self reflection, asking yourself questions about what you love, what you're passionate with, what brings you fulfillment, involving, different paths, wanted to try new things, and stepping out of your comfort zone, everyone, this is going to be your next step to really find honest answers from within. So,
Mhm.
yes, for our viewers out there, this book of Miss Tonia Pinheiro is available in Amazon.com and also in her website. That's toniap.com. And also, Miss Tonia will be joining the Festival of Storytellers Season 6, and that's going to be happening on January 20th to February 2nd. So, Miss Tonia, on behalf of Readers Magnet, we really appreciate you. It's an honor to have this kind of discussion with you. Thank you so much for gracing with us today. And of course, for also choosing Reader's Magnet to be part of this wonderful journey. Wow, we
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
you.
You people are all wonderful people. I just love you so much.
Wow.
You're real. You're real. I feel that resonance.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel the resonance. Like you're all like you're doing your alignments there. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Really appreciate that, Tonia. Thank you so much. So, yes, everyone, this is our wonderful author, Miss Tonia Pinheiro, author of the book Ego and Essence, a user guide for the soul. Again, thank you so much, Tonia. And everyone, as we say it here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you, Tonia.
You're welcome. Thank you.